When I look back at my life, there are certain moments that stand out like bright stars against the dark sky of memory. Some are joyful, some painful, but then there are those rare few that carry a glow so powerful, they change everything. This story is about one such moment, and it all began when my son, Daniel, surprised me with a trip to the Maldives. I never could have imagined that this journey, which started as a simple vacation, would become a turning point for both of us, a story of healing, rediscovery, and love in its purest form. I live in Portland, Oregon, where the rains often color the days gray and memories linger like clouds. My son Daniel is 27, full of ambition, kindness, and that spark in his eyes I've always admired. But life hadn't been easy for us. 3 years earlier, we lost my husband, Daniel's father, in a sudden car accident. In one cruel night, our lives had been turned upside down. For months afterward, I lived like a shadow of myself. I did what I needed to do, but laughter felt foreign, and joy seemed like something other people had. Daniel, despite his own grief, became my anchor. He would call me every day, show up at my door with groceries, or simply sit with me in silence when words weren't enough. But in truth, I knew he worried. He wanted me to live again, to find happiness, to rediscover the woman I once was before grief had dimmed my light. It was late one winter evening when Daniel called me with a surprise in his voice. "Mom, pack your bags," he said. "For what?" I asked, confused. "We're going to the Maldives. Just you and me. I already booked everything." I was stunned. "Daniel, you didn't." "I did," he interrupted gently. "You've given me everything my whole life. Now it's my turn to give you something. You need this, Mom." "We both do." And just like that, my son swept me into an adventure I hadn't planned for, but perhaps desperately needed. The Maldives was unlike anything I had ever seen. From the moment we stepped off the small plane that took us over the turquoise waters, I felt like I had landed in a dream. The islands were dotted with palm trees, the beaches were soft like powdered sugar, and the sea shimmered under the sun in shades of blue I didn't know existed. Daniel grinned at me as we walked along a wooden pier toward our villa perched above the water. "See? Already worth it, right?" I laughed for the first time in what felt like years. "You were right. This is magical." Our villa had glass floors that let us see fish swimming beneath us, and a deck that stretched out over the ocean where the sunsets painted the sky in fire and gold. At night, we could hear the waves beneath us, as though the sea itself was cradling us. But it wasn't just the beauty of the Maldives that began to change me. It was Daniel. He planned everything with such care, making sure each day was filled with experiences that reminded me of the joy of living. We snorkeled among coral reefs, where I saw fish in every color of the rainbow darting around us. We took a boat ride at dawn to watch dolphins dance across the waves, their sleek bodies leaping into the air like living poetry. And one evening, we dined on the beach under a canopy of stars, our feet in the sand, the air warm with a scent of salt and flowers. "Mom," Daniel said that night, his voice soft but steady, "I need you to promise me something." I looked at him, the flickering lantern light making his face glow. "What is it?" "Promise me you'll start living again. Not just surviving. Dad would have wanted that for you. And honestly, I need it too. I can't keep worrying that you're slipping away." Tears welled in my eyes. For so long, I had been holding on to my grief like a shield, afraid that if I let it go, I'd be letting go of my husband too. But in Daniel's words, I heard the truth I had been avoiding. Living again didn't mean forgetting. It meant carrying love forward. I reached across the table and held his hand. "I promise, Daniel. I'll try." The next days in the Maldives felt lighter. I allowed myself to laugh more freely, to marvel at the world around me, to simply be present. Daniel and I went kayaking together, our paddles cutting through the clear water as we drifted past islands where time seemed to stand still. We took a cooking class with local chefs, learning to make curries fragrant with coconut and spices. And we spent hours talking, really talking, about everything from his childhood memories to his dreams for the future. One afternoon, Daniel convinced me to try scuba diving. At first, I resisted. "I don't know, Daniel. That seems scary." "Mom," he said with that same reassuring smile he had as a boy, "you've been through scarier things in life. Trust me." And so, I found myself descending into the deep blue, my heart racing until I saw what waited below, a world alive with beauty. Coral gardens stretched out like living cities, schools of fish shimmered like liquid silver, and a sea turtle glided past me with ancient grace. In that moment, something inside me shifted. For the first time in years, I felt awe, pure, unfiltered awe at being alive. When we surfaced, Daniel laughed and hugged me right there in the water. "See? You did it." I laughed through my tears. I did. And I loved it. But the most powerful moment came on our last night in the Maldives. Daniel suggested we take a walk along the beach after dinner. The moon cast a silver path across the water, and the sand glowed faintly with bioluminescence, each step we took lighting up like stars beneath our feet. "Mom," Daniel said quietly, "I brought you here because I wanted us both to heal. But the truth is, you've given me more on this trip than I could ever give you." I stopped, surprised. "What do you mean?" "You showed me what strength looks like. Even when you thought you were broken, you kept going. And now, seeing you smile again, it gives me hope. For my own life. For everything." Tears filled my eyes as I pulled him into a hug. For so long, I had thought I was the one leaning on him, but here he was telling me I had been his source of strength all along. That night, under the Maldivian stars, something inside me finally settled. I realized that healing doesn't mean erasing pain. It means finding beauty again despite it. It means choosing to live fully, even when the heart carries scars. When we returned home to Portland, I carried the Maldives inside me, not just the beauty of its islands, but the lessons it gave me. I joined a local art class I had once abandoned. I began volunteering at a community garden. And most importantly, I opened myself back up to laughter, to joy, to life. Daniel still visits me often, and sometimes we'll look through photos of our trip, the dolphins, the sunsets, the glowing beaches. But what I treasure most isn't the pictures. It's the memory of my son taking my hand when I couldn't find the courage to take the next step myself. He gave me more than a trip. He gave me back my life. And that changed everything.